Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Tech and Culture Speaker Series. My name is Marcus Webb, and I'm the Economic Inclusion Fellow at Center State CEO. And I also will be moderating tonight's event. So before we get started, I wanted to say thank you to JP Morgan Chase for sponsoring our event and sponsoring a lot of the work that we're doing around trying to diversify tech and helping our partners and our organization understand the importance of, putting together programming and events like this to show individuals from diverse backgrounds and what they're doing in the community. So again, thank you, JP Morgan Chase, for sponsoring this event and all of our work that we're doing around tech and culture. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our amazing speaker, Ana Gil, who is the headshot photographer at Ana Gil Photography and also the host and producer of Officially Unofficial TV. She also teaches creators and marketing professionals how to produce great looking videos. As you can see, her video is amazing with amazing graphics and using their content. And prior to, finding her own business, she worked as a technical sales and support representative for a local network and hardware company. So on top of having, her entrepreneurial venture, she also has some technical skills and worked in the tech industry prior. So without further ado, Ana Gil, is there anything you would like to say to the participants before we get started?
Wow, Marcus, that was great. I loved it. Wow. No, what I want to say is thank you so much, you guys, for being here. And Marcus, thank you so much to you and Tech Culture and Center State CEO for inviting me into this amazing program that you guys are having.
Of course. So let's get started. I wanted to start off by asking you, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from?
Sure. Okay, so I am a very outgoing individual. I'm super creative. I am an open-minded individual who loves people. So that's basically who Ana Gil is. And I am from the Dominican Republic.
Okay, like that. So the next question we have is, can you tell us a little bit about what Ana Gil Photography is?
So Ana Gil Photography has been in business for about 13 years. And we started with family photography, but as the business moved through, we found that headshots photography in the area was very, very popular. So we moved on that area, as well as the high school senior photography genre and events. So now those are our main genres, and we have like a little sprinkle of family photography.
Okay, that's great. How did you get into photography?
So I would say it was when my parents, so I'm from the Dominican Republic. So when my parents separated and they came to the United States, I didn't see them for about 5 to 6 years. I want to say almost 6 years. And the only thing that I have was pictures to kind of be close to them and see them and remember what they look like, because when they left, I was pretty young. And I wanted to kind of give that and offer that the same experience to people, because life happens, whether it is that the parents moved away or any other life events. So that was my inspiration mainly.
So can you tell us a little bit about your web show, Officially Unofficial TV?
Officially Unofficial TV is we interview. It's broadcasted nation worldwide, because now with the internet we can just broadcast anywhere. We interview local organizations, and we have the topics, various topics. It could be relationships, it is parenting, it is business and technology, mental health issues. So we cover a variety of topics. So that's mainly what Officially Unofficial is, but Officially Unofficial is the company itself. So we produce the show Officially Unofficial TV.
I see. Mm-hmm. So what was your motivation behind starting that?
Officially Unofficial?
Yes.
It was the need for something different. And I've always liked, when I came to the United States, I wanted to be a reporter. Right? I wanted to be a reporter, but I didn't know English. So when I went to college, they were like, listen, communications, it's a lot of speaking and you don't understand the language. And they pushed me to something else. So that got detoured until 2015 that I formed Officially Unofficial.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
So can you tell us about, the key moments that you remember as, as an entrepreneur? What would be like the toughest thing that you would consider, going forward as an entrepreneur?
Um, in terms of like hurdles and things like that, you mean?
Hurdles, most frustrating, just, the nicks and knacks of being an entrepreneur and starting your own business.
It's basically, it varies. It was a lot of uncertainty. It was a lot of let's just go for it kind of a thing. And then when things didn't work out, you need to be your own motivator.
Mhm.
And it's just pushing through, and sometimes feeling discouraged and having to like be your own cheerleader. So that's those are for that. Those are the main hurdles. And also in terms of like the tech world, it was mostly kind of not being afraid of being in that world.
Mhm.
It's because you're in the public eye. So yeah.
Right. So, we read in your bio that you had a background in tech. What made you stop, working your 9 to 5 essentially and, go into entrepreneurship?
So it was the flexibility of it. It was me wanting to be more creative because in the tech world, it was good, right? I enjoyed it. I did really well in it because I enjoyed technology, but I needed to have the creative side of me. I needed to work that out a little bit more, and the tech didn't give me that.
I see.
That.
Creative aspect of it, right? I see. Okay.
Mhm.
So just
And
to
now I'm
follow,
doing that, now
yeah,
I'm doing that, Marcus, and
sure.
you guys.
To follow up that question about, what was like the most pivotal and frustrating moments as an entrepreneur, what would you say were your most, your greatest moments as an entrepreneur?
um, it's just actually seeing what I had envisioned and like come to reality. So, we think about something and we keep thinking about it and we keep working at it about it. And then there's this moment where like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. And this
Mhm.
is when people go, uh, Ana Gil took my headshots and I love it. And this is what I did with it. And I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So those are great things. It's like, okay, yes, it worked. So that was those are still happen. So it's just pivotal moments every time that happens for me.
Yep. So do you like consider those small wins and you celebrate them when, someone said Ana Gil took my picture and it's just, you consider that like, okay, yes, that's me. I made it.
For sure. I mean, like
Yeah.
all of those is like every time. And sometimes, it doesn't, because sometimes there's so many things happening and we're working on so many different things because as entrepreneurs, we are doing so many things at once. So there's give us like a little bit of motivation, right? And a little like, go for it kind of a
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Keep going.
Mhm.
So how would you say your experience as, a woman of color affected you in your entrepreneurial journey, if it has at all?
Yeah, when I was reading this question, Marcus, I was like I had to stop and think because I don't think that as a woman of color, it has influenced me as much as it has being a woman in tech. You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I think because yeah, it's just it's the tech world is the male dominated. So
Right.
it's like
Right.
yeah.
You want to go in a little bit more about that? Like what exactly about being a woman in tech do you think affected you most?
So when in my experience, right, whenever I will go to say an interview and it was for a tech position, I had to prove myself a lot. I had to go to multiple interviews that afterwards I found out that the guys didn't have to go through it, right?
Right.
And then moving into entrepreneurship, when I'm talking about tech, men, if there's another male in the room, the males would gravitate towards that male, even though I know the topics, I know everything, the males will gravitate towards the male, instead of like, okay, well, I'm still here. So that is what I feel is, not as a woman of color, but as a woman in tech is.
So from your perspective, how do you think, that can change? How do you think, people respecting women and respecting their ideas and things like that in the tech sector? How do you think we can make a change in that?
Go ahead.
I just said if we can, if that's possible.
I believe it's definitely possible. It's just consistency, right? And it's all the women. I mean, I love the initiative of, women in STEM and getting girls started early into it, and not being afraid of getting into that field of science and technology, and for males themselves to just, I don't want to say give us a chance, but we're all and we can all be in the same field. It doesn't matter. So the respect and men understanding that, I do believe the field can be changed. I don't think it will be like equal, but it will be, it can get close.
Sure. Do you think diversity is important in tech? And when I say diversity, we kind of just spoke about it in terms of gender, but race, age, everything along those lines. Do you think it's important? And if so, why?
Yes, for sure. It is. And just like I mentioned, it's just going to, is going to the exposure to little girls, the exposure to minorities, because some minorities, we are not exposed to technology. So being more exposed to it, it will diversify and it will become normal.
I see. Do you think there's like a specifically in, like the black and brown community, because we do a lot of work with trying to diversify tech and get more individuals from those communities involved with tech. So do you think there's like a stigma or, a negative connotation of individuals from those communities getting in the tech industry?
I don't see it that way. I really don't. I really don't see it that way, especially where, I'm exposed to a lot of communities who, there are a lot of Black and brown people in there, all in tech. So yeah.
Okay.
And in the communities, just being exposed to it. It's just exposing our kids, exposing them in high school, exposing them in middle school, exposing them in kindergarten, just exposing them to it. It does. Yeah. And then they will get an interest in it and they will go for it.
Yep. Perfectly agree. So, okay, you kind of just answered my next question. I was going to ask, how do you think we get more young, diverse individuals involved with tech? Do you have any like tangible ideas? I know you said that going forward and just getting them involved, but like in terms of programming and stuff like that, how do you think we can get them involved in tech?
Well, this programs like this, right? And getting adults involved in it, and then getting the adults to expose the kids in it with programs, summer camps, right? I mean, like parents, we're looking for our kids to do something during summer. So getting tech camps, whether it is in software, which software with artificial intelligence is huge. So exposing our children to those programs would be huge for the community, and just artificial intelligence is a field that's supposedly new because it's being more exposed now because of the pandemic, right? But it's always been there, exposing our kids to it. I just think that would be a magnificent idea if we could do that locally.
For sure, I agree. I know you, when I read your bio, it said that you train professionals to do photography like you. Have you ever thought about helping students or putting together some kind of programming for kids to get involved with, the kind of work that you're doing?
I've actually thought about it a lot, and my business partner and I were trying to figure it out how to join a program like that. And we will definitely be open to, if there's a program out there who needs some teachers, we will definitely be open to listening to those programs.
For sure. I think it's so important because, school teaches the basically telling students the only way that you can make it is if you go to school and then you get a 9 to 5 and then you work for the rest of your life and stuff like that. So I think that entrepreneurs from the community like yourself, where they can see themselves in that position, is really important, because I believe representation is huge when we're trying to help the youth. So that would be a great idea to get your programming going to help some students. So knowing what you know now, would you do anything different, like looking back in hindsight?
I would advocate more for myself, for my young self. When what I mean by that is when I was in college, like I mentioned before, I wanted to be a reporter, and then my second option was computer science, and both of those got shut down because I didn't know the English language. However, knowing me, right, knowing how I am and knowing my personality, I could have done it. So if I could do something differently, I would have advocated more for myself.
I see.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about like the barrier of not knowing English and not being from, not being from here and coming here? Was there like a culture shock? Like, I want to hear a little bit more about that.
so so it wasn't a shock when I came from, because we had MTV. You don't know, but do you know about MTV markets,
Yeah,
right?
I do. Yeah. I'm
So
old
we
enough for
had
that.
so we had MTV and like the dance off and all that stuff. So I kind of was into like the pop culture and knew a little bit of it. So seeing it was just like confirming that all of that was true. That was real. So that was really exciting for me. What was a cultural shock was coming to Oswego College. That was a shock. Huge on everything. I thought I knew a little English, and when I got there and those professors started talking, I was like, "What language is this?" So that was really hard. That was the barrier. I had to study a lot. I had to, like, after work, like students would be like, my friends would be like, "Oh no, come on, let's go," and I'm like, "I can't. I'm translating this lecture right now." So yeah, that was tough. That was really tough.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience at Oswego? How was it overall?
No, my experience at Oswego was really fun. I liked it. The support, the counselors were great. The tutoring that I needed, because without the tutoring, I don't think I would have made it. Yeah. And they had a lot of support for tutoring for all of them, for math, for ESL, the language, and so my experience with Oswego was really good. It was really good.
So one last question for you. What advice would you have for others looking to set off in a similar direction as you?
In terms of entrepreneurship or
with life in general, but yeah, entrepreneurship, career advice and stuff like that, but also just overall life, just looking to go in the same direction as you.
So I would just say identify. I know it's hard, especially for younger, but if you know what you, so I'm gonna go back to when I was, because that's the only thing I can relate it to. Ever since I can remember, I wanted to be a reporter. When I was little, I wanted to be a reporter. I wanted to be in media. I want to say I was born to be in media. I was born to be in front of the camera. I was born to be behind the camera. I was born to be creating. The barriers that came through with it, because I had so much passion with it, I kept going. So my advice would be, if you know, because you will know when you just love something, you just have to keep pushing, and you have to know that those are barriers, but not stoppers, right? Like the barriers can be kicked, and you can, along the way, you will find people who will help you out. Along the way, you will find motivation from others, because we're all here with everything that we need to succeed in life. So we just have to just keep pushing forward. So that will be my advice.
That's great advice. That's great advice. So thank you, Anna. That's all the questions I have. I would like to now open up the floor for any questions that the attendees may have. So we have a question from Leticia. She said, "How large is your team now?"
We have a team of 3 right now.
Okay. From Glenn, will you still become a reporter?
Yes, Glenn, I am a reporter. I report on Officially Unofficial. And then I also have, I'm a co-host of a show on, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this Mac software that's called Ecamm Live. So I'm kind of like a reporter there. So we report everything that's happening on the community. In terms of outdoors, I do it. I report what's events that are happening in the community. So yeah, I would be in terms of like going back to school and getting that title. That would be something that I might do. But in terms of the action, I will say I am.
I like that. You said what was the name of the company?
Ecamm. So is ECAMM Live.
Okay. I see.
Mhm.
Another question from Leticia. Who were your supporters early on that helped you push through?
So my supporters were, my father was a huge supporter of everything that I wanted to do. Then some teachers were supporters. Then like some mentors in the community. So they will come in and out depending on where I was, literally. Because like I said before, we like along the way, we will find people who would, I call them angels, really. Like I don't have any other names for them. And they will just deliver what we need to know, and then we move forward. So those were mainly my mentors.
A lot of people say that, networking and, mentorship is how you really get far in life. Can you tell us a little bit more about how exactly specifically mentors played a role in your life? Maybe give us an example of like connecting you to opportunity or something along those lines.
I would agree with that statement 100%. I would agree. Networking is one of I have gotten so much business and exposure from networking, and not necessarily coming towards me, but me giving back to them as well. And in terms of mentorship is seeing where someone is at right now and the hurdles that they had to overcome. And especially from women, when I hear this from women, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So yeah.
Empowering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We have another question from Glenn. What do you think about media these days? There has been a move to more entertainment rather than fact reporting, sensationalizing stories. Also, there's fake news. Your thoughts?
That is true, Glenn. Yeah. Yeah. Entertainment media, I'm one of them, right? So I will say yes. The reporting and the fake news, we have to be aware of them. We have to know where they are. And yes, they're out there. And it's just fact checking for us, especially for children who believe everything. The other day, my daughter showed me a picture that she saw on TikTok, and the dog had human teeth. And she showed me, look at how weird this cat looks. And I'm like, that's not a cat. I mean, there's not a cat. And she was believing that this was, and I'm like, no. And so it is really important, especially to our children, to kind of bring them back and have them fact check those fake news. But yeah, I definitely believe that the media is changing, and is just like you said, Glenn, is going towards the entertainment aspect of it, because we hear bad news all the time. So yeah.
I have a follow-up question for that. Is it changing, or is this how media has been like for years? And that's genuinely a question. I don't know. I kind of just got into media.
That is a good pondering thought. It could probably have been there, and then now, because of the ease of reporting online, right, in live streaming, we're seeing and we're exposed to it more. But I
Right.
do think that before, things were a little bit more structured when it came to the news.
Okay, that makes sense. We have a question from Aaron. What is the process of your video production from idea to final cut?
Okay, Aaron. All right, you're making me think over here, Aaron. So the process is first organizing my content. So we have to organize the content, whether it is for the show or for a customer. And we have to organize all of that. Then after that, we have to do the storyboards. After we have the thoughts organized, we do the storyboards. And then we go on getting the equipment together that we're going to need based on that storyboard. And then we shoot and then we film. Well, I mean, we shoot, then we review, then we review again, then we review again, and then we post.
We have another question. What did you do? I'm sorry. Where is it? Elion? I don't know if I pronounced that wrong. Elion. All right. What did you do in the early beginnings of your career / business that helped make it as successful as it is today?
Okay, so what did I do in term? Okay, so if I understand that correctly, isn't I did a lot of networking. I associated myself with people who were already doing what I was doing, and I just watched how they were doing it, and then from there I found my own style, and I found in terms of media, then I found my own voice of what I wanted to talk about in the shows and things like that.
Was cost ever a factor? Like, how was your cost, like your startup cost and your operation cost when you first started your business?
Okay, so yes, it was. Yes, it definitely was. For photography, I actually started with a tiny little camera. It was really small. It was like I think it had like 6 megapixels, but it cost like I want to say like $150. And I shot with that for a minute. I shot with that until I found the money to buy a DSLR, but still I had to borrow money from family to buy it. And then afterwards, then I just started saying, okay, this is what I want. This is what I actually need. And then the business paid for the equipment. But yes, at first it was it was a little struggle.
Yeah. So from Glenn, what are the top social media sites for getting the word out? Like, what works the best? Also, anything new coming out, social media platforms? I'm behind, not on TikTok yet.
Listen, Glenn, I'm not on TikTok either. My people are, but I'm not on TikTok. So it depends on your content, right? For advertising, to getting the word out, it all depends. So if you're doing community things, and you want to get a group of people kind of like yes and waiting for you and things like that, I will say Facebook. And then if you are sending out more of a like in general content or how-to content, if you're going to be a creator on that side of things, I will say YouTube for that, and then Instagram as well. It all depends on your content, what social media will be best for you, if that's what you mean. And if anything coming out, listen, Glenn, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out that I don't even know about. Like it's just today I was uploading a video to YouTube, and then I was sharing the link, and sharing the link, it said share to a whole bunch of social media channels that I didn't even know were there. So yeah. Join the club, Glenn.
Would you say social media is a big marketing tool for yourself?
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I will say it is equally important as in real life networking. And for me, I enjoy in real life networking. Enjoy because I just love people. I love talking to people. I love interacting with them. So and that is, you can have a conversation and you can feel their energy and things like that. So I love that. But social media, definitely, I use it equally.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
From your perspective, how important is social media? Because I know you use it heavily in your business as well.
Yeah, it's critically important across various businesses, across industries. It's critically important because so many people are tuning into social media. There's so many people that are on it, whether it's, older platforms that have been around for a long time, like Facebook, or newer platforms like Twitch. and Clubhouse kind of newer. Platforms like that and new platforms that are coming out, but it's a great way for businesses to get their product, their services in front of a lot of people and not at a lot of cost. So it's a great marketing tool, but it's also a tremendous communication tool for people like myself and Ana that do work, community work, where we're sharing information, critical information with our community. So I think it's the new thing. Some people, in some cases, choose social media over the regular traditional news. That can be dangerous in some cases because, a lot of that stuff is not like real, factual news and things like that, but it just shows you the prevalence and the popularity of social media and how it's impacting our culture today. But I don't foresee that going away. I just see it evolving and changing. But I just see it growing and impacting the influence.
Well said. Thank you, Leticia.
Yeah, sure.
We have another question from Glenn. How do you deal with someone treating you differently being a woman? You touched on this a bit during the talk. How do you respond in a way that is professional for a hopefully win/win solution?
I missed the first part of that question, Marcus.
How do you deal with someone treating you differently being a woman?
Yeah, there's a lot of breathing. There's a lot of kind of stepping back. There's a lot of they probably didn't mean it. There's a lot of apologizing, like internally to like making excuses to them, like, oh, maybe they didn't mean it that way. That all happens. So while that all is happening in my mind, my demeanor outside, because it's not harsh, it comes out kind of calm. So that's the way. And then I do ask sometimes, like, what do you mean by that? Or I go into the conversation, right? So if they're talking about something and they're stepping over me, I actually go to a person that I trust the most. And I express, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this. How come they did this? And then they bring me back in. So even though it's still relying on a male, I mean, like, if it's a male dominated conversation, I have to do it. And usually in tech, that's how it goes. So it's just like, I guess, having allies with you, we'll say, it's tough. It's really tough. It's really something that I deal with almost every day.
I can interject with another question. So how has the pandemic affected your business? Has it helped it? Has it hurt it? What do you think the effects of the pandemic was on your business?
It was really, really good. It was really good. My photography business, I was really busy last year in the middle of the pandemic. I was so busy. Headshots were, organizations wanted to update their website because now they moved to this, they moved to the virtual world. So they had to have good presence. So I was photographing a lot during the pandemic. And on top of that, my Officially Unofficial took off because now people were looking for things to watch. They didn't want to be watching everything that was happening, like, the new update on the virus and things like that. My content was more of how to deal with what was happening with relationships. People were in the house and the relationships were getting better or they were not getting better. What to do with the kids, how to get kids entertained and how to help the kids in school with the new changes and things like that. So Officially Unofficial, they both did great.
See.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Are you looking? Well, no, because you just said that it did great. So how do you feel about moving forward to a more in-person world? Do you think that you can, of course, you're going to keep the momentum going, but how do you think it's going to affect your business?
Marcus, that's a good question because I love both equally, a virtual and in real life. But if I had a choice, I would go 100% real life, and live streaming. So I mean, like, I will go outside in the world, right? And then I will live stream it still in social media, but I wouldn't be, because usually my shows are from behind here. Like if you go to Officially Unofficial on Facebook, all the shows you will see is me behind the desk. Right. So me being in real life and then live streaming it, that's ultimately what I'm going to do. So that's where I see it going.
I have two more questions from Glenn. What do you think are the top skills for success? Can answer that one first and I'll ask the next one next.
The top two skills for success, I would say motivation and I want to say drive. Motivation is about the same. So, good question, Mr. Glenn. Drive, motivation, passion. If you have passion and motivation, you're gonna go for it. You're not gonna, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. What traits do you look for in a prospective employee or business partner?
Okay, I will say first on business partners, they have to know things that I'm not interested in, kind of, right? So they have to like fill in that gap for me. And they have to be driven as well as I am, and they have to be energetic. So mostly the traits that I have, energetic, passionate, open-minded. I want the same traits because I want us to have the same outlook. And what was the other part, Marcus?
For a prospective employee or business partner. So someone.
Okay, so employee. So
Yeah.
for employee, I will say they have to be organized. And they have to completely they organize and be driven and like what we are doing. So they have to like what we're doing so they can get excited with us when projects are coming, when we're planning our content. They don't have to love the content, but they have to really enjoy the process of putting the content together and seeing it to fruition.
See. Great question, Glenn.
Yes, Glenn. Glenn is full of great question. I wonder if I know Glenn. Glenn, have I ever seen you in the community?
Glenn is very active in these speaker series. I love when he shows up.
Yeah, have I ever seen Aaron, Alien? Have I ever seen you guys in the community? I know I've seen Fulgence and Leticia.
Okay, one last question. I think you said you had to learn English. Your English is awesome. How did you learn?
Thank you. It was a lot of tutoring and a lot of reading. I did a lot of reading. I still do. And a lot of watching TV and listening to pronunciations and how people, like how literally, you guys, how the mouth moved, because sometimes in Spanish, we say things really fast and sometimes we don't even finish pronouncing the word. But in English, if I don't pronounce a complete word, it sounds like something else and people are like, what do you just say? So yeah, it was it was a lot of TV and reading.
We have a question from Leticia. What's on the horizon for the media side of your entrepreneurial venture? What do you expect to be 5 years from now? So let's separate those two. So what's on the horizon for the media side of your entrepreneurial venture?
For the media side, I see it growing a lot. I see us producing a lot of videos for organizations. I see us, we are being hired a lot to do in-home studio setup, meaning, the camera, the microphone, lighting, all the stuff. So building studios for speakers and different genres of live streaming or speaker series, things like that, right? And then also video, just putting video together, putting content together, promos. That's happening. I see that solid in 5 years.
So you said when you're looking for a prospective business partner, you look for them to have like similar traits as you. But what about having a partner that is different than you because he or she can add to like your weaknesses? What do you think about that? Do you think that's important, or do you think more so, you two getting along is more important than you can work everything else out?
Great question. Great follow-up question. I do think that being similar is for work is high priority for me. But then again, like I mentioned before, they have to have skills, but I am not so good at, which will equal to weaknesses, right? So for example, my partner, he does a lot of the technical stuff in terms of like microphones and things like that. I love software. I love content creation. I love getting the lighting, you know, to what the customer wants, the mood that they wanted, whether it is like they want a lighter mood or darker mood. I love creating those things. And then he really enjoys doing the microphone aspect of things and all of the other hardware that needs to, all the other equipment that need to come to play to produce video with softwares and things like that. So it's, we really have to get along and then the other things will happen. So I guess that's
Right.
summarizes it.
See.
This was great, Marcus. You did a pretty good job. I'm telling you guys, doesn't he do a great job moderating? I was like, I'm so impressed with him. I'm like, Marcus, you go, Marcus, right? We should give him a round of applause for being an amazing moderator.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Check out Officially Unofficial so you can see what I was doing during the pandemic.
I gotta go actually check those out. It looked really good. I've seen like the preview, but I gotta actually sit down and watch them.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. I recently did one, Marcus, on how to do like properly set up green screens.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you get your green screen and it, like for you, for example, you carry your retractable green screen and you just pop it out whenever you have to do a chat. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Right.
Yeah.
That's important. That's important. Is
Yeah.
that a green screen right now?
No, this is real background. This is real. Mm-hmm. But the green screen works really well. I was impressed how well it works in Zoom, right? Inside of Zoom. Yeah. There are some certain things that you need to do inside of Zoom when you get a green screen, but it works pretty well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Check it out. So I want to say thank you, Anna, for coming in. You know, you were amazing. Great insights on, you know, how to become an entrepreneur, how to follow your dreams. Great advice for anyone looking to, you know, go on a similar path as you. Thank you, everybody who showed up and asked these amazing questions. I truly appreciate this discussion. If you're looking for more resources, you can visit the Center State CEO website, upcoming events like speaker series or gaming tournaments that we're trying to put together. Again, you can visit the website. And if you're looking to engage with us, you can follow us at Generation Next on Facebook and Instagram, and also reach out Generation Next at Center State CEO. So again, thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone who showed up. And I hope you all have an amazing night.
Yes, thank you so much, you guys. Thanks, everybody. I will see you guys outside in the real world or out in my channels.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All right, Marcus, thank you so much. And thank you so much to Center State for having this amazing program.
Of course. Thank you, Anna.
Bye. Bye, you guys.